Are Taylor Lewan, Bobby Wagner, or Jalen Ramsey good fits for the Cincinnati Bengals in free agency? Let's discuss all three veterans before we head to Indianapolis for the NFL Combine. Hi again, everyone, and welcome into Cincinnati Bengals Talk. I'm James Rapine of allbengals.com. Thank you for subscribing. Make sure you ring the bell, hit that subscribe button. Like I always say at the beginning and end of every video, well, so you get all of our videos delivered to you, because we're going to Indianapolis this week, and we will be there Tuesday, and we are going to hear from Duke Tobin and Frank Pollock and Zach Taylor. I don't know why I led with the offensive line coach. I think mostly because offensive line is a hot button topic, and so buckle up for plenty of combine and draft coverage over the next few days here on CBT. That said, free agency is before the draft. And there are two veterans that are either already free agents, Taylor Lewan, or will be a free agent, Bobby Wagner, who hasn't officially been released by the Rams, but will be, and he'll be free to sign with the team in free agency this offseason. And then there's another guy, Jalen Ramsey, on the trade block. And all three guys have been mentioned, discussed, and floated out as potential fits for the Bengals. First, let's start with Taylor Lewan, because he is a free agent. He was released by the Titans. Offensive line, offensive line, offensive line. And the quote that he said, and we posted this video on his podcast. He said it on Bussin' with the Boys. We put this on our Instagram and our TikTok, so now you can follow Cincinnati Bengals Talk on there as well. But he said, quote, "I know the Bengals need a left tackle." And he said it 3 times. And he was talking about other teams, and the Steelers, Eagles, Saints came up, but I know the Bengals need a left tackle. I know the Bengals need a left tackle. I'm going to make the argument for Taylor Lewan and then the argument against. For, pretty simple. You need offensive line help. Adding a 3-time Pro Bowler, someone that is on the wrong side of 30, it's not going to cost a ton. So it might fit from a cost perspective. And he's coming off of an injury, so I don't think there's going to be teams breaking down the bank. But notice that I could also use some of what I just said as negatives to signing Taylor Lewan. And that's the tough part here is, what does Lewan bring you? And coming off of an ACL, played in 15 games in 2021, though. It's not like he's had 4 straight years of not playing in, an extended amount of time. But he suffered that injury. So what are you getting? That's a big question mark. 2, is he willing to switch positions? Or Jonah Williams, is it you move Jonah or you move Taylor Lewan? I think that's tough. And so there are positives and negatives, and they kind of intermix here. Well, I think we're all about protecting Joe Burrow. And why wouldn't Taylor Lewan want to protect Joe Burrow and come in and block for him at the same time? And so there are positives to it. Adding a proven player at a position of need. Tackle. Will he move? Will Jonah move? That's a question. You're already spending a lot on Jonah Williams. You exercise that 5th-year option. It's $12+ million guaranteed. So he's going to be around this season in 2023. And Lel Collins, would that mean the end for Lel? Okay, so Lel, who spent a season in Cincinnati, who is more familiar with the offense and the system and familiar with playing with Alex Kappa, he's coming back from an ACL as well. Just because his timeline's a few months off, that's enough to move on from him for a guy who's also who's older, by the way, 2 years older, and doing the same thing. It's tough for me to see it, but never say never, I guess. Even though Taylor Lewan, there's certainly a lot of negatives. It really comes down to price, and that's what I would say with Bobby Wagner as well. There's going to be a lot of people that say, well, if you sign Bobby Wagner, you might as well keep Jermaine Pratt, and that's fine. I get that. But Bobby Wagner left the Rams because he wants to win. Maybe he is willing to take a short-term, low-money type deal. If that's the case, well, then, yeah, I would be interested in Bobby Wagner. And the reason why is you could have Wagner on contract for another year or 2. Let's just say 2 years, right? A 2-year deal. And it doesn't intersect much with a potential Logan Wilson extension because, as we talked about in our free agency preview with Jermaine Pratt, I just don't think they're going to allocate $20 million to both linebacker spots combined. And over the next 3 to 4 years when you're paying all these other guys. So if you pick one, Logan Wilson, well, Bobby Wagner still fits that. Maybe he only wants to sign a 1-year deal, and he's willing to do that, and he doesn't want to hamstring himself into a situation that could, go poorly. Like when he joined the Rams, he was expecting to win, and that did not happen. And while I think that the Bengals are sustainable, if you're Wagner, maybe you're willing to sign a 1-year deal. So I think that's unlikely as well, but certainly something I'd be open to. He's still playing at a really, really high level. And even if he took a half step back this season, still a really high level. So I think it's really unlikely, but I could see it potentially working. And I'd give a low percentage on Taylor Lewan, low percentage on Bobby Wagner, either one ending up in Cincinnati. And then the one that has no chance, absolutely zero. And you never say never, but never. Jalen Ramsey. 1, he's under contract. 2, the Rams are trying to trade him. 3, he apparently wants a new contract. 4, he's 28 years old. 5, I think he's lost a step. 6, yeah, I think he could still be a productive player, but not what you're paying him. And it's not like that the Bengals are just a corner away. There's other spots, other ways that they could allocate those resources. To me, doesn't make sense. I think they get younger in the defensive backs room before they get older and add a guy like Jalen Ramsey, and certainly more expensive and add a guy like Jalen Ramsey. So I still think he's a really good player, but future draft assets, a new contract, player that's 28 already, I don't see it. And that's a 28 with a lot of miles on those legs. He's played football for some time. It's not like he got into the league 4 years ago. So Jalen Ramsey, really, really good player still. Not great. I don't think he's as good as he was, say, 5 years ago or three to 4 years ago. Still a really good player, and I think he would fit in Anarumo's defense. I just don't think the Bengals would give the assets in finding a way to facilitate a trade like that. It just doesn't make sense, and I don't think that that's something they'll be in on. So to recap, Taylor Lewan, if I had to give it a percentage, I'd say I'd be open to it to a degree, maybe 15 to 20%, because if his market is just down and the Bengals don't get their first couple targets in free agency at tackle, could you see a scenario sort of like Riley Reif a few years ago where he comes to Cincinnati and they say, hey, here's some Jeff Ruby steak. Let's have some steak and hang out with Joe Burrow. And then Lewan's like, yeah, this could work. This could work. I could reestablish my value. I'll sign a 1-year deal. I could see that. That said, so we'll put that at 20. We'll go 25%. We'll go a little more optimistic there. And then after that, Bobby Wagner, we'll say 7.5%. But we'll continue the optimistic stretch, 10% for Bobby Wagner in Cincinnati. And then after that, well, because I don't want to just say 0, I'll give it a 1% chance that Jalen Ramsey is in stripes next year. What do you think about those percentages? You're probably hating them. That's all right. If you're wondering, by the way, about Bengals free agents, their free agents, well, our series started a few weeks ago, and we have plenty of videos on Jermaine Pratt, Hayden Hurst. We did an entire offseason preview with Jeff Hobson as well. Check all of those videos out. And for Andrew Fox-Miller, our channel coordinator, I'm James Rapien. Thank you so much for watching Cincinnati Bengals Talk. We will see you at Indianapolis on Tuesday with plenty of content coming your way all week long. So buckle up. No one's going to understand that, but that's what the new Cardinals head coach said, Gannon. He was like, buckle up, bird gang. And it was the silliest thing ever. It was cringy. And now, Andrew, you have to deal with watching this at the end of the video. I appreciate you watching. I'm James Rapien, right here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk.